Okay, our next inference rule is existential instantiation. And this will give you headaches. Remember, UI, you can do almost anything you like, except you cannot, if you have multiple occurrences of a bound variable, treat them differentially. The same will be true of EI, but there are other restrictions as well. So let's look at a sentence. And remember, an existentially quantified sentence, remember basic fact number 2 of predicate logic. This is equivalent to a big disjunction. And this tells us we don't know which of the objects A, B, C, D, and so on have the property F. All we know when this is true is that at least one object in the universe that X picks out has the property F. That's all we know. But we don't know which ones have it. And that means if we have an existentially quantified premise and want to EI, we can never do this or this or this. They're all incorrect because since we don't know what objects have F, we're not entitled to say of any object that it has F. We can't say A has it because we don't know that. We can't say B has it because we don't know that. We can't say C has it because we don't know that. And we can put this then as a rule. When you do EI, never ever replace the variable by a name. Never. Well, that only leaves variables. So, can we do this? Is that correct? Yes, it is. This is good. But, now let me show you a problem. Suppose I have two premises. And I want to do EI to both. So I can't change that to an object's name, so I do this. And that's good. And so you would probably think this will also be good. But you'd be wrong if you thought that. This is bad. This is very bad. This will give you a headache. Now, first let me show you, before you get the headache, why you cannot do line 4 in this way. If this were allowed, then you could go on to do the following. You could conjoin lines 3 and 4, and then you could tack that existential quantifier back on. So if you allowed line 4, then you could infer line 6 from these two premises. And that would be a world that would be not just a disaster, it would be an impossibility for such a world to exist. Why? Well, what's the problem from going from here and here to here? Look at what you're saying. you're saying if there's some object that has F, and there's another object that has G, then there must be some object that has F and G. So, to make it more dramatic, let me change the properties to S and B. Okay, and let S be the property of being a bad snake. Now, in New Jersey there aren't that many, but there are parts of the world where there are snakes called mambas, and they are bad snakes. They're the most feared, some people say they're the most feared animal in the world. They're super aggressive, super fast, with venom that can kill in a matter of minutes. Okay, do they exist? Yes, they do. So there are bad snakes. Let B be bat. Are there bats? Some of them are bad, but most of them are harmless little critters. And there are plenty in New Jersey, and they fly all over the place. If line 6 followed by logic from lines 1 and 2, as soon as there is a bad snake and a bat, there must come into existence, there exists a bat snake, a bad snake bat, a mamba bat. Imagine these huge mamba bats flying around campus. That would be scary. That would be very scary. I would not like that. But we can say something more. As soon as any two objects exist, there must be a third object that comes into existence which consists of the fusion of their two properties. Does this piece of paper exist? Yes. Do I exist? If line 6 validly follow from lines 1 and 2, there would come into existence a new third object consisting of the fusion of paper and Jeff Buechner. It would be a paper Jeff object. And for every piece of paper in this room, there would be a new object consisting of the fusion of me with every piece of paper. And the same for all of you. For every object, ceiling tiles, cell phones, water bottles, pens, clothing. I am wearing clothes, and each piece of clothing is an object. So for each piece of clothing I am wearing, there would be a new object consisting of the fusion of me with that piece of clothing. I don't know how that would look. Remember, I just put this stuff on, but if there's going to be a new object where the properties are fused into it, the clothing would have to be part of me in an essential way. My finger, each one of you. There would be new objects consisting of the fusion of my finger with each one of you. So in addition to you, there would also be a you with my finger. Similarly, there would be another me with your finger for each finger and each person. Can we talk about atoms and molecules as objects? Can we? Yeah. So for each atom and each molecule, there would be a new third object consisting of an object fused with that molecule or that atom. There's trillions and trillions in this room. Does the universe exist? Does the Earth exist? Does the solar system exist? For each of those objects, there would be a fusion of it with each object in this room, each object in Rutgers University, Newark, each object in New Jersey, each object in the planet, each object in the solar system, each object in the universe. Overnight, the amount of matter would have to blow up. If line 6 followed from lines 1 and 2. Thank goodness line 4 is incorrect, because that prevents line 6 from being inferred from lines 1 and 2. Well, now I'm going to give you a headache. You think this is a variable. You think this is a variable. But this is not a variable, and this is not a variable. If they were variables, you should be allowed to do line 4. But this is not a variable. It has a special name. It's called an unknown or a dummy variable. It's like in the equation. This is an unknown, and it picks out all and only the natural numbers that satisfy this equation. So, it picks out the number 2. Similarly, this is an unknown, and it picks out all and only the objects in the universe that X picks out that have the property S. So, if I use it down here, I would now use it to pick out the objects that have B. But I can't. I used it here to pick out all and only the objects that have S. I cannot also use it to pick out all and only the objects that have B. I have to find a new unknown, a new dummy variable. And the way to do that is, and that's perfectly fine, but this is nothing to worry about. So here is the rule. When I do EI, I cannot change the X to the name of an object, and the name of the dummy variable I choose must not appear free prior to that line in the proof. So I come down to line 3 and I want to know what to replace this X by. I decide X. Does X appear free prior to line 3? No, it's bound here. No, it's bound here, so it's okay to use it. Then I come down to line 4, and I want to replace this X. So I say to myself, can I use X in line 4? I can only use it if it does not appear free prior to line 4. But it's free in line 3, and line 3 is prior to line 4. So I cannot use it. It's been taken. I have to choose a new name for my dummy variable, my unknown. So I choose Y. Does Y occur free prior to line 4? No, it doesn't appear at all. So I can do it. So there are two restrictions on EI different from UI. You cannot, when you do EI, change the variable in the quantified sentence to the name of an object. And the dummy variable name you choose when you do EI must not appear free prior to that line in the proof. You also, if you have multiple occurrences of a bound variable that's existentially quantified, you can't treat them differentially, same as with UI. That's it.